G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on Cliffside again. Oh my god, this is a lot of Cliffside that's been happening. I don't know, the games have been pretty good on Cliffside. I kind of like Cliffside as a map, it's fun. You get to spawn close to your opponent, but you're still kind of exposed from the back, which is definitely a fun aspect of the map. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's introduce our players for today. Spawning in on the west side of the map in the color pink, playing as the Rus. Representing Team Elephant, it's Louis MT. And on the east side of the map, in the color yellow, playing as the English, it's Voldemar, aka The Kid. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a casted game. It's a pleasure to have your company. If you're enjoying this casted content, please, if you wouldn't mind, leaving a like down below. It really helps out the traction of the video. And, well, if I didn't remind you, you probably wouldn't do it anyways. Have a look at these two fighting their hardest on. Oh, look at that. Beautiful control there by Voldemar. What did he do? He moved his scout right underneath the deer so that when Louis tried to click on the deer, he accidentally clicked Voldemar's scout instead, subsequently netting Voldemar the kill, denying Louis the bounty. Very well played. Now, we're not going to be able to check the bounty like we used to. Do you guys remember how we could check the bounty before? I could bring up a little thing. The truth is, though, if I tried to do that, it would probably just break the computer. I don't even know what would happen. Let's try. I've got a button here. Yeah, it just doesn't do anything. It's just like, I'm confused, boss. And the reason why is because I've talked about this in another video, so you might already know. In which case, if you do, congratulations, 10 points. If you don't, that's okay. Gryffindor will still give you some points anyway, because you guys are the main characters. It is because I lost my 4090. My 4090, he went down. It's been a long and lonesome road with the 4090, I'll say that much. But unfortunately, he hasn't been doing that well. So we're back with the 3090. And that means that the old PC that had the 3090 in it now has no graphics card in it. Though technically we do have another even older PC that we could pull a graphics card from. I think that's like a 2080, I want to say. No, actually, I take it back. It's a 3070. I remember now because I had a 3070 and a 3090. And that one was for the streaming PC and one was for the gaming PC. Yeah. Not anymore. Now, well, technically, yes, I guess we are, because we're not running the 4090. Anyway, look, that's enough about graphics cards. Let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the matchup. So we've got a civilization, the Rus, that's been the top of the table for quite some time. It has been nerfed recently. Its Kremlin range got dropped from 8 tiles down to 7 tiles. I'll be honest with you, I don't think that probably did much of anything. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, though, we do have the Abbey of Kings coming down. A little bit of a cancellation came through. Voldemar did decide to put it on the back, and he said, hold on a minute, you know what? I reckon we can flex this towards the front. Very intentionally puts it 1 tile offset as to not stomp this straggler tree. You want to try and keep these straggler trees up because I suspect he's going to be looking for a very fast town center, and this is definitely the way to do it. Interesting to note that he's going 2 vills on the age up, so probably going to be looking at like a 4:45 TC here, which is very quick. It's quicker than the 5-minute one that we were doing, but it obviously at the cost of delaying your king from the Abbey. And I mean, realistically, against the Rus, there's not really much that you can do with it. Like, hypothetically, let's say if you got that king out at, say, 3 minutes 30, 3 minutes 40, and you ran it over here, like, what are you going to be hitting? Like, maybe the wood line if you're lucky, but even then, like, just garrison all the vills, bring them over to the side here, you're probably going to fall back away. Like, there's nothing you can really hit, and I don't think you're that incentivized to actually go after vills here of the Rus. It's a very difficult civilization to actually take those vills out from, but let's check in on the other side of the map as the age up's about to come through. I say that. Let's watch the age up. It's always nice to watch the age up and get confirmation. Yep, that person did in fact age up. There it is. Feudal Age is online, and immediately the vills make their way over to stone. Bit of an interesting decision, though. I will say that. I guess the lumber camp's not affected. But look, we'll talk about that later. Let's check in over on this east side, though, and see how we're doing. 4 vills on stone at the moment. 5th vill now going to be added out there. Working off the straggler trees. So keep in mind, the straggler trees have 450 in them, which is actually enough to get you the town center and to get you a lumber camp if you want to place that TC on the gold, which is a very common thing that English players do. Normally, you want to go 6 tiles away from the main town center and still on the gold. But here it's quite far away. Like, if we have a look at this, like, this is very far away from the town center. So there's a good chance he could look to put it, like, over on the top or on the back just to help defend against knights, because they will inevitably come through. But let's talk a little bit about Louis, about decision-making, about this lumber camp. Oh, he's extending. Oh, he's extending the 50%. I get you now. Okay, so the point that I was going to make before is, like, normally we see players go for the stone and then after the age up comes through, they like shift everybody over to wood to get that 20% bonus. Interesting from Louis though to do this. He extends out the lumber camp influence, or the Kremlin influence with this lumber camp. So a little bit, it kind of sucks, but at the same time, you want that Kremlin towards the front, right? Like you don't want this sitting at the back. Let's check in though and see how Louis doing. He's got pretty decent line of sight here around the base of Voldemar. Spots that king coming out, knows exactly where it's going to go, knows what the plan is. Keep in mind, he's got 7 vills on stone here, so that's going to be more than enough to gather up that 350 by the time he's arrived. The only question is going to be, yeah, where's all that wood gone? You can see that wood has gone over towards this position. It's a beautiful spot as well. Have a look at this, boar together with the deer carcass. Instead of putting the town center out here, he's instead just going to put the wooden fortress. Also brings a couple of Kremlin gremlins out here. Meanwhile, towards that south side of the base, we do indeed see the king looking to make his presence well and truly known on that south side. Villagers going to be running away. We do see that he's also got that 20% bonus, even though he's on the straggler trees. So definitely a smart move, and great idea saving these straggler trees as well. Hasn't stomped any of them, and he's now able to take advantage of that. Meanwhile, towards the top, oh, look at this. Really, really smart, actually. Such a cool little move here by Louis. It means that the villagers are all going to be full health. He also gets the kill on the ball for the extra bonus bounty. And on top of that, the militia are about to go the way of the dodo. They got 8 seconds left on their 65-second lifetime. So very smart use there of the militia to tank up the boar. Really, like, well thought out. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but I just want to compliment Louis, because that is incredibly well thought out to calculate that. And the fact that, you know, the militia initially, that's going to be in the next Eminem album. Did you guys see he announced his new album? What's it called? The Death of Slim Shady? Something like that. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I'll be honest, I used to be a big fan of Eminem back in the day, but I guess as you grow older, you start listening to less Eminem and more like Bluey. I don't know. Does Bluey have any songs? I don't think Bluey has any songs, does he? You listen to more like ABC tunes at my age. Like we're definitely doing a lot of ABCs at the moment. Vill's going to take a hit though. No, never mind. It's the militia that takes a hit. Very well positioned once again by Louis. He is so on the ball with these militia. Like, this is incredible. But yeah, the initial militia coming out right there, able to block any potential cavalry threat that's out here. On top of that, able to tank up the boar. Like, just such a smart use of the militia. Really, really well done. So lovely to see. Second town center now going to be coming online for Louis. Keep in mind the second town center for Voldemar is well and truly up. Looks like he's gone 7 tiles away here, but intentionally, because he does have to offset because of the lumber camp. But really nice position here, and we do now start to see, looks like a bit of a transition. With this many vills on gold, I would be saying this is probably just going to be a castle age. I think they're probably just going to both end up meeting each other in the castle age and doing a little bit of a dance up there. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. I'm curious what we do see here as this game does develop. And now have a look at this. We've got ourselves extra... it's been so long, dude, since I played the Rus. Increase the damage of arrows fired from this wooden fortress by +2. Is that all arrows? That includes, like, garrison arrows as well? If so, kind of wild. You get 12 damage and then 10 bonus against any kind of ships. But have a look at this beautiful surrounding that's coming through right now. Louis has just got everything pinned down inside the base. Meanwhile, arrow slits is through on this wooden fortress. Going to cop a little bit of damage here, a little bit of extra damage. Remember, he's got that +2 we just talked about. Meanwhile, Castle Age going to be coming in for Louis as well. Both players working their way. Louis with plenty of food, though. Have a look at the income difference here. Only a slight advantage. I say slight advantage. 826 against 700. Yeah, it's a slight advantage at the moment. But more farms are starting to come down. Interesting decision to go for the farms on the outside here. Normally, you see players look to try and fill in closer to the town centers first. It's common that you'll see, like, the mill on the outside. There's that next mill. Bit of a weird mill spot, though, not going to lie. Is he really just trying to grab as much, like, real estate as he can inside the base? If so, mad respect. Because I definitely wouldn't have done that. But I guess that's the difference between myself and a 2.2k rated player like Voldemar. He's just that good. Farms now starting to come through. Look at the placement on these farms as well. Not the most perfect farms, but he's still going to get great value out of this mill. So really well played. And it just goes to show you that you can diagnose obsessive-compulsive disorder from the placement of farms, and it's very clear, Voldemar. You've passed the test, my friend. No OCD for you here. That is absolutely... Can you imagine, dude? Oh, placing your farms like... Oh, look at this. I would be pulling my hair out, man. What little hair I've got left, because I tell you what, I'm slowly making the transition from, like, balding man to bald man. It's tough dropping that ing. It's hard. One day you're just going to have to wake up and look at yourself in the mirror, Drongo, and say, you know what? Today's the day. We're gonna shave it all off. Either that or I do like some sort of surgery. I have been looking into it. Surgery. What do you guys reckon about surgery? I mean, it's a good thing, right? Like confidence and all that, but I don't know. It looks painful. I've seen the photos online. It doesn't look pretty. Now, let's talk about something pretty. 4 relics all together in the north of the map. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you can maintain control of this north side of the map, you can control the relics. And if you control the relics, you control the spice. And if you control the spice, then you control the world. Well, not really. Isn't it the universe? Nice little cancel. Oh, he was going for a blacksmith, switches it up and says, you know what? Actually, we want a monastery. What is this high trade house? What is this high trade house? Excuse me? Was this the best high trade house you could find? 26 trees? I mean, it's not terrible, but you might as well have just placed it in the middle of no man's land, at least pick up a couple stragglers over here. Like, what is this high trade house? This is probably the worst high trade house I've ever seen. Like, I don't think you could have randomly generated a high trade house somewhere on this map, and 99 times out of 100, it would have got more trees than that. Why is this high trade house here? What's the reason behind it? Is it because he wants to keep the deer in the middle of the base safe? Is that why? Is it because he wants to build farms around it? What's the thinking? I don't understand. Why wouldn't you just put it on this backside? Was it because you were scared of the knight or the king coming in? And so you just didn't want to delay your age up and you didn't want to have to make units? Perhaps that was it, and you just wanted to try and pick up the relics as quickly as you could without necessarily going for the Abbey of the Trinity? That's got to be it. That's got to be it. We worked it out. The worst position on the high trade house wasn't actually the worst position on the high trade house. It was just a different kind of high trade house, and it makes sense. Look at this. Nice little walls coming in here. Ville's working its magic to finish that wall and not lock himself in. Warrior Monk coming out. You know he's going for the furthest away relic. Beautiful. Like, Voldemar's so smart, man, when it comes to this kind of stuff, right? Like, he just knows that his opponent's attention is going to be on the relic that is the furthest away. Really, really well identified. What are the numbers looking like for Voldemar? It's almost certain that he misses out on the relics, right? Like, there are no relics. Was this his safe relic? No, this is his safe relic. So he's completely walled it in. So I think he's definitely got 1 relic. It will depend on how many warrior monks he can actually take out now. The knight numbers are starting to boom, though. Up to 5 knights now for Louis. 3 more in queue. Keep in mind, he's got quite a bit of production coming up behind this. Meanwhile, the king, he's got to be careful not to lose it. Crossbows also getting in on the action. Relics getting picked up behind it. That's going to be the second one. Now going over to Louis MT. He's hoping to pick up 4 out of 5. If you can do 4 out of 5, you're definitely going to be feeling good about your late game. Have that extra gold, and also know that, you know, you didn't go into the Abbey of the Trinity, but you didn't really lose anything out of it. Of course, your opponent got their closest relic. That's a mandatory one. But speaking of that sound, I didn't get a jump scare that time. I'm starting to get a little bit better with it. There we go. That's going to be 4 relics now picked up for Louis. He's picked up this one as well. Should be able to get these in. Keep in mind, the Warrior Monk is very, very quick. 1.22 movement speed. He's going to outrun the crossbows. Ain't no chance. That is getting run down. So that monastery is going to have to turn into a double monastery. And look at this. Well, there's already the double monastery up. Have a look at this. Quadruple archery range getting thrown down at the same time. Is this horse archers that he thinks about here? It could be horse archers. His economy is definitely set up for it. He's got a lot of gold trickling through, though, now. That's the other thing to note, is that gold is on the cards here. Gold units. What do we see from him? Meanwhile, towards the top side, he's working at this last relic. Definitely not going to be able to find it. The delete comes through. More than enough military here. Expect to see the monk. There's the monk now coming out and looking to pick up that 5th and final relic. Voldemar takes it. It's going to be a 4-1 advantage in favor of Louis. Now, keep in mind, Voldemar did also opt to go into the King's Palace, which means that he is going to hit that 130, 140 villager limit. I say limit. It's more of like a self-imposed limit. Not really a self-imposed limit. Like, we do see players go up to like 160. Normally Holy Roman Empire players, but sometimes you do get crazy amount of villagers, and it's just about how well you're trading, right? Like, with your enemy. You want to just be constantly trading with them, and utilizing that villager advantage as well as you possibly can. But now those numbers are going to start really booming here. A lot of infantry coming out, moving into my favorite combination. It's going to be spear crossbow. So the natural counter to that is going to be a mangonel. So expect to see Voldemar beginning to move into siege as well. We don't see any siege workshops up just yet, but expect it shortly. Expect it very, very soon. Let's ride on board with the kid and see how he's doing here. You can see he's on the defensive now, looking to try and get some walls up. I'll tell you what, I'm not a real fan of these walls, especially with this many villagers and absolutely no protection. You guys know I'm a big fan of protection. I say that, but I do have quite a few kids now. They're just kind of multiplying at this point. Don't really know where they're coming from. My mum and dad never explained to me how that happens, so yeah, we're just kind of stuck here now. Like they just keep popping out. And anyway, there should be another one coming soon. I hope. She doesn't hope. I hope. But look, we'll worry about that another day. Plenty of infantry now on the horizon here. Voldemar's got an opportunity to make a decent push here. I'd love to see that siege workshop followed up with a mangonel and then a whole bunch of rams. That is my dream situation right now. The villagers are starting to go down. He's taken out 5 workers so far. He's lost a huge amount of cavalry for it, though. He's going to cop a couple more here. He's taken out, make that 8. Could be finding himself in double-digit territory here. And hold on. I thought this was not going to be a worthwhile cause, but my tune has been changed very, very quickly because it looks like he may have got a couple more up towards this top side as well. Only 4 vills for the moment. Spear's going to be chasing them away. Do we have our +2s coming in? Looks like +2s are on the way. You can see +1s are through, but +2s are now on the way. Boyar's Fortitude also going to be coming in for Louis. To me, this is definitely feeling like you throw down the siege workshop, get siege engineering, and just go all in right now. It feels really, really good. But spear crossbow, look at the counter. Smart moves from Louis. He's gone back to the trash army, and he said, you know what? My archers are going to deal effectively with your spears, and my horsemen will deal effectively with your crossbows. You've got absolutely no response to this. Now, granted, you could just make a mangonel and kill all of these archers, but then you'd have to make siege, and nobody wants to make siege. Not in 2024. Can't be making siege out here. Knight's going to get cleaned up. Sacred Site going to be neutralized. Middle of the map. Crossbows getting pushed now. The horsemen are out in good force here. +2 ranged armor's through. Boyar's Fortitude is through. Looking to pick up a couple more upgrades. You can see just really the number of units here is quite impressive for Louis, considering the fact he was down on the villager count so significantly in the mid-game. But he is transitioning well. Spear's now going to start coming through. Men-at-Arms also now making their way onto the field. What kind of upgrades are we talking about the Men-at-Arms? Yet to get their veterancy through just yet. Militia also getting called to the front. Louis MT is sensing there may be blood in the water, and if he can make a punishing push right now, then he could be in position, pole position potentially, to win this game. Trying his hardest. He's taken 2 out of those 3 sacred sites. Where's the 3rd sacred site? Oh, there it is. It's sitting up towards the top. We've got a neutral northern sacred site. Interesting to see. Well, the defense has been solid. Voldemar keeps it together, and despite going into a spear crossbow combo, which is notorious for how good it is, Louis MT does well to match it. The king will go down, and we'll all shudder, as unfortunately, as in this circumstance, I should say, fortunately, the monarch remains alive. Meanwhile, towards the north side of the map, a single scout works its magic on the monk. The monk is slowly going down here. It can't heal itself, and if it could, well, you'd probably have yourself a problem. But those healing hands, they're not meant for me, my friend. I shouldn't. Stay away from the subject, Drongo. Monks and healing hands. There's been enough controversy about those. Are we having ourselves a cursed cast here? It feels like it could be cursed. I've had a lot of cursed casts lately. Maybe it's just, you know, I've been out of the casting booth for a little bit too long, so now all my casts are just cursed. Maybe that's what it is. Wait, are the villagers going to go down to the scout as well? This scout is taking names today, dude. He's picking up +2 damage, melee damage as well, just for this scout in particular. Have a look at this. He's actually going to... He's melting through it. The ranged armor on the scout is doing work. Villager's going to go down here. He's got more on the way. This is the consequence of having these walls up towards the top side. I mean, if you wanted to keep the rabbits out, you probably could have just gone for a wall across here as well. Much safer. But, anyway, the numbers now pushing towards the middle. Voldemar is up, and finally we see that mangonel come out. I can't help but feel it's a little bit too late. I really feel like when you're going for that mangonel, you need to have some siege out with it, like battering rams in particular, because you want to push down your opponent. And you can see, look at Louis, dude. Louis in response to this huge infantry mass, is like, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to go into a mangonel ourselves. A huge mass of infantry here on this front, having a little bit of trouble getting through. Mangonel's going to get caught with its wheels down, and the horsemen really picking up a decent kill there. That sets Voldemar back a huge amount, because now all of a sudden that pressure is no longer going to be applied towards the front. The men-at-arms are doing a decent job here. He's starting to move into crossbows as well. That mass is starting to build, but keep in mind with +2 ranged attack, he is going to be getting some decent value here. Though, I do say that, but +2 has come through for these men-at-arms together with armor cladding. Mango comes out, looks to the back line. Will he be able to find it? No, 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 no. No, no. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, I got a little bit of a in my voice right there. I was hoping that he was able to repair it up, but unfortunately the men-at-arms did manage to find it on the finish line. Louis MT holding. We've got ourselves a classic case of my base, your base, my base. They're just going at it in each other's bases. Meanwhile, Voldemar's got a pretty decent villager lead, sizable villager lead here. Though these horsemen are being very, very annoying. The consequence of not walling your base up is that these horsemen are finding significant value here. Double Mango now going to start coming in as well for Voldemar. He says, you know what? If we're doing this Mangonel thing, we might as well go all the way. And look at this. Horsemen just being left to their own devices inside the base of Voldemar. He's up about 30 villagers at the moment. What is that? 26 villagers at the moment, which is a decent amount. But keep in mind, he does have the relic disadvantage. His opponent's also got a sacred site, and it's ironically the one that's safely behind Voldemar's walls that he's got, which is, you know, ironic, as we mentioned. Could have an Imperial Age coming here through as well for Louis. I think he's definitely found the space. If he wants to go Imperial here, he 100% can. What do you do if you go Imp? I think you go Imp and then just go Mass Archers and Springalds. I think that's probably the play. You don't go Spaskaya here, and you're just going to put the landmark down on the front here. It's got to be the High Armory. That's got to be the way that he goes. High Armory here. I mean, he could do it in the back of the base as well. Probably more villagers around the back of the base, like maybe here-ish. And then Siege Workshop. And then just go into Elite Archers. And then Springled in placement, or Springled with, with roller shutter triggers. And I think that's probably how you win the game. And then maybe like Rams as well, because Rus Rams are kind of good with High Armory. Is he going to go into it? It doesn't look like it. He's gone into a couple of Horsemen as well. So maybe just a little bit fearful of this push that is coming. 26 men-at-arms in this mass. He's going to have to work down the Palisade Gate. The only problem is there's a lot of crossbows here now, so it's going to take time to get through. Could pull forward with the Mangonel and look to threaten this backline. We're not going to find it. Does have the resources now to click up if he so chooses. He'd be very bold to do it at this stage. You are under pressure. Horsemen now going to be coming through, looking towards the backside. Spear's going to be able to intercept. Men-at-arms now moving forward. Springled also comes out because the mangoes from the top rope don't find too much. The Springled now moving forward. Also going to cop a little bit of flack here. Horseman unable to take it out, but the Springled finishes it off. Second Horseman round comes through, and beautiful defense from Louis. This is right now the excuse that he needs to go Imperial. He has found himself 2 victorious fights out of pushes from his opponent that have not found any luck, and it is going to be the High Armory. Where does he go? It is going to be on the front line right next to the double Siege Workshop that he's already got here. It's a little bit dangerous. Like, one of the things that I talked about before is that Voldemar kind of needed to add in Rams with his push, because Rams are so difficult to deal with once your units are, like, fighting everything else. They've also got to deal with the Rams as well, so you kind of need to pull Vils, idles out the economy, gets great value, and also kills out enemy positions. But this is a very difficult position to attack into. You've already got the Kremlin here with its Springled in placement. Also got the Wooden Fortress with its Springled in placement and its extra range, by the way. 10 tiles of range. Incredible range. So I don't really know how Voldemar goes about winning this game. I'll be honest with you. Other than maybe what he's doing right now, like he's kind of maxing out his opponent. You can see he's up to 140 Vils. So as long as he keeps the fight happening, as I've said, like the big thing for me is he needs Siege, right? Like you need to be rolling with Siege here. You need Rams, I think, is what you need. You can't just be, man, where are his units? He's got a lot of units in queue, but not a lot of units on the field, and he's at 192. As I said, like, I feel like going into 3 or 4 Rams here and just trying to push with them could be very, very potent as well. Springald's now coming through. Roller shutter triggers. I'm expecting to see elite archers, though we don't actually see any archers. It's all crossbowmen at the moment, so he's not going to be going into the elite archers. Maybe could just look to go into elite horsemen here. Could be very valuable as well. Horsemen, obviously very, very nice. With this economy that's rolling, not a huge amount of gold, and you want to kind of spend it on siege, whereas that food, it's just very, very plentiful, so can kind of throw it all into horsemen. And we can see Bandit Arms also going to be coming through. So not only is he going to have that 2 range advantage, he's going to have 2.5 range advantage over his opponent. This is what makes the Rus so difficult to deal with in the Imperial Age, because when it comes to fighting in the Imperial Age, Springalds are what set the tone when it comes to war. Siege is so important, and having siege superiority is everything. So that tiny little advantage of 0.5 range, you might not think it's much, but it means that you get shots off before your opponent. You're able to get the jump on your opponent, and it changes the battlefield completely. Wingard Palace now going to be going down. Where is it going to be going down? It is going to be going down right here in the front of the base. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. I'm a big believer in Wingard in the back, especially with a spot like this. Like, this is just delete this farm, Wingard right here. The trouble is, if the Wingard falls, the English fall, right? Like, not really. It's if the Berkshire falls, the English fall. And, I mean, this was a pretty good spot for it, but you're up against high armory Rus, and they've just got free bombard, so you kind of want to just beat them with units. Speaking of units right now, crossbows have got their upgrades on the way through. Horsemen get completely evaporated on the front. The age up now comes through from Voldemar. He needs to look into elite men-at-arms straight away. I feel like elite men-at-arms and elite horsemen are probably going to be the best play for him here. The elite men-at-arms now coming through. But the horsemen would be really nice because they're going to do so well against the crossbows. And we know that he's gone into the high armory, so that naturally means siege, right? So you want something to deal with that. Gold on the front here is going to be neutralized. Speaking of neutralized, this outpost is, or this sacred site is still standing strong on the north side of the map. So yet to actually take that out. Continuing to fight it out in the middle. We've got ourselves quite a decent little choke point that's happening and beginning to build here. Streltsy now starting to come online as well. Typhons through for Louis. Meanwhile, +3 ranged armor is going to try and help him out a little bit. And the first of the bombards has now arrived. This is where the siege begins and where the push truly starts to end for Voldemar. Now that this bombard is out, it means that we're going to see that outpost end very quickly. Just as I say that, look at this push. Hold your horses stronger. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't count your chickens, mate. We've talked about this before. You've got 4 chickens. There's probably a couple more that are going to hatch soon. So just wait. Bombard. If this outpost goes down, it really neuters this push. Look at the range on that bombard, dude. It says 10 tiles of range. I don't know. I feel like that's not 10 tiles of range. It's firing through that hill, and I think that's probably why I feel like it's more. Because I'm looking at, like, the hill and everything, and it's like, nah, dude, geometry, that ain't a thing. Trigonometry, nope. I'm not a protractor. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, now starting to put some pressure on. The second bombard is coming out. Men-at-Arms looking to make a dive here. Outpost, or rather, the keep is looking to get a bit of boiling oil in. You can see the cannon emplacements also coming through as well. Meanwhile, behind it, the trebuchet is out here. It looks like he's moving into the Wingard army to find that trebuchet, looking to start sieging down this keep. He knows it's so important to take out this keep. Mangonel on the back, and you can see just the constant flood of random siege in here. Double Springle, double bombard. Do we find a double Mangonel today? It doesn't look quite like it at the moment, but the Treb's going to start working its magic. You're going to need more than one Treb, and with that Wingard army, you will slowly start to build them up. Moving into elite crossbow could actually be really nice here as well for Voldemar. He's just spamming out the infantry like crazy. No elite army tactics yet either. He is just... And this is what I was talking about when it comes to having that big villager count. You can see how it's played right now, in that you just need to constantly fight. You need to constantly be brawling with your opponent. This is how you make this massive villager advantage work, even in the late game, right? Because you look at Louis and you're like, 130 vils, that's plenty. But Voldemar, with 140 vils, or what used to be 145 and is slowly going down, had that slight villager advantage, slight economic advantage, which subsequently leads to having slightly more military units. And as long as you keep your opponent at a reasonable amount of military, you're going to be fine. Look at him rebuilding here. We are seeing... Is this it? Is this an English masterpiece that is coming out here? I felt like he's been on the back foot all game today. And now, finally, at Imperial Age, it looks like the English have reached their power, their power level of 9,006. It's over 9,000. What does the scouter say? It's over 9,000. We double-checked it. We triple-checked it. Where's that? Where are the next Trebs, though? Oh, the Treb's in the middle. Okay, so he's got a little bit of double Treb action. A little bit of double Treb. Could be a triple Treb. Oh, baby, a triple. Oh, baby, it's going to be a triple. I can tell you that right now. We got one in the Siege Workshop. Speaking of Siege Workshop, it's somewhere back here. I need to check the upgrades that he's got on the way through. There it is. So still no geometry. Looks like we haven't picked up greased axles and no shattering projectiles either. Very expensive upgrades. And I think at the moment, all he's trying to do is scrounge together 200 out of 200. That's really what he wants. Meanwhile, still no walls. on this backside. This is killing me. This is absolutely killing me, man. All you need is like 100 wood of walls up the top side, a little bit of walls on the south, maybe a wall in the middle with a gate would be nice. Stop those horsemen from running by. That would be all you damn well need. But, you know, it can be tough finding the APM for it. Now, Voldemar's going to make a mistake right here, and he's just going to chill. This is not what you want to do. What you want to do right now is push. What you were doing before was the right thing. You want to push. You got to push the pedal to the metal. Do not let your opponent build up. Do not let them get to maximum pop. This is the advantage that you've got when you're playing the English, when you have that superior economy. Speaking of superior economy, have a look at this. 1,000 food per minute advantage. 80 villagers right now on farms. A huge amount. Triple Treb is out. Cannon in placement. He's trying to get value from it. But the reality is it's only going to be Streltsy that are defending. The Springles trying to find their way forward. The Treb's going to be able to be the counter in this situation. Men-at-Arms together with the Spears. Not going to be able to do too much damage to the Streltsy. Remember, they got plenty of health, and they got that double time bonus that's coming through, rather static deployment that's coming in. Vils on the back, repairing up the keep. Springles now going to be moving forward. You can see he's lost a lot of units. He needs to continue rallying towards the middle. The only thing is he needs something to deal with these Streltsy. You need a Mango. You need something, and the problem is with these Springles on the back, it makes it so damn difficult to deal with. Keep in mind, he's always got the Kremlin there to throw out those gremlins if he needs to. I think Horsemen still could be quite decent in spite of what we're seeing happen in the middle here. And now that push is really starting to come through. The Streltsy timing attack. Keep in mind, he's got to be very careful of losing these Trebs. And there they go. One of them falls down. Second one has gone down. The third one is the only one that remains now. More melee units going to be able to push back in this center, and it's so difficult fighting against these Springles. They just provide so much clearance, and it means that these keeps are going to have a difficult time going down. And I think that's the trouble, right? Because you can't go into a bombard. You go into a bombard, you're just going to get obliterated by the Springles. And if you go into trebuchets, you need lots of Trebs. And the problem is you don't really have the population space to go into lots of Trebs. We're 200 out of 200 right now, and it already feels like our army's nowhere near big enough. As long as he keeps reinforcing with decent units, though, like Rangers, hand cannoneers, I think he's going to be okay. But now we start to see a switch up from Louis MT. It looks like he's going to be moving into Horsemen. Meanwhile, towards the north side, I thought a neutralization was going to happen. It's not. It's some villagers moving around. That's all it is. He's still got the sacred site. Can we just see one villager sent up here, please? Just a single vill. That's 100 gold a minute that's coming through for free. Double bombards now coming out, continuing to move forward. Remember, they've got that unique technology as well. Has he picked it up? Not yet. Increases the damage of bombards by 20%. Bombards also gain 50% damage versus infantry. That's the first time I'm actually realizing that. They also have this one right here, which increases the teardown speed. And then we've got Wandering Town, which increases the damage of rams slightly and gives them that healing over time. But you're not going to need that when you got bombards, that is for sure. Mango coming forward here, looking to hit off on those rangers. Will find it. Nice little shot. They've got plenty of health, though. Remember that. A lot more health than the longbowmen. These are only veteran longbow. Treb now moving forward. Keep in mind, no shattering projectiles, at least on last check. Still yet to have it, which means he's going to have trouble against things like Springles. With the shattering projectiles, I think it definitely changes the dynamic quite a bit. But Mango shot comes through. Another big shot. This is so hard to fight out from. How do you deal with siege superiority like this, right? Like the Springles just keep any enemy Springles down. The Bombard's going to be able to tear through your buildings. The Mangoes stop any kind of presence on that back line. Where do you go from here as Voldemar? I genuinely don't know. Other than like a full Horseman transition, that's the only way I can see him pulling this out. He needs to go full Horseman. So like switch over to Wingard Raiders. But the thing is, you're going to need time, and you don't have time, especially when you've got double bombard knocking at your door. This is the consequence of putting that Wingard on the front. You know, a whole bunch of stables in the back, Wingard as well, just pumping out Horsemen right now, going into elite Horsemen. That's what will turn the tide here. But that's the only thing. And then even if you manage to do that, you fall back into Kremlin Gremlins. There's eight that can be called at the moment. But speaking of Horsemen, as that trebuchet goes down, we see more Horsemen looking to break through towards the top side. He's got a wall down here. He's going to be able to enter into the back of the base. Louis MT looking to try and dish out some pain right now against the kid. And I think he's definitely going to be able to find it. Able to hit that gold, which is where the majority of the gold is coming through for Voldemar right now. Meanwhile, there's also raids coming through on that top side towards the villagers on the farms. Voldemar's villager count will start to drop, which is probably, if anything, a favor for the man, the kid. But now those Streltsy pushing forward with the Horsemen. Plenty of siege on the back, and it's just such an advantage. You can see the power of siege superiority. Let this be a lesson, ladies and gentlemen. Streltsy plus siege, kind of good. Kind of good. He's trying to hold on. He's trying to dish out as much pain as he can, but the reality is that Louis just running rings around him at this point in time. He's got the full wall down towards the south side, but towards the top, he just hasn't had the integrity of the wall really for a long time. It's been, what, like 15, 20 minutes that he's been dealing with raids? All it needed was one wall across here, another wall here, and another wall here. And that would have been it. 3 little wall segments would have saved him a lifetime of pain. But unfortunately, the kid, he's struggling. 200 out of 200 now for Louis. He is capitalizing on this forward keep as well. Meanwhile, for Voldemar, cannot keep his head above water. He's at 170 population, starting to fall down to 169, continuing to lose villages behind this as well. You can see the number is starting to fall down to 123. Meanwhile, on the south side, under attack down here, Louis is just really monopolizing, capitalizing on this central location. Keep in mind, we do have a keep coming through shortly. I don't know where the vills are coming from. There they are. He's bringing 19 vills. If this keep comes online, I feel like it's almost certainly good game. It is so difficult to come back from an opponent who has got such superiority when it comes to siege, not to mention their population, but throw in a keep as well. He's going to try and take some vills out here. Let's see how much he can find. Mango shot into the choke point. Bombard's going to help out as well. And that's going to be it. Ladies and gentlemen, the game gets called with Louis MT coming out victorious. Beautiful performance there by the kid, but unfortunately was not enough to bring glory to the English today. Ladies and gentlemen, go check him out. I'll leave a link in the description of where you can watch the kid live over on Twitch. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.